Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the AI Antics. We are going to be discussing the large topic that is AI in every facet of our life. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've got Jarrod here with me today. He's going to talk a little bit about what he kind of has, his feelings on the matter. First, we're going to kick a few things off. We're going to let you kind of have an inside scoop. What are some of the things you do, Jarrod?
So right now, I'm currently a actor and TikTok content creator. I create comedy sketches on the platform, and I'm heavily involved with the social media space.
Okay. Um, so I'm sure that you're familiar with the current trend being AI in everything.
Right.
Um, in fact, as we speak on my screen right now, you're not going to be able to see it, but anybody who's watching me will be able to see it. There is currently an AI constant. I have programmed this AI to do one thing, and that is to create fantasy backgrounds. So every couple
Okay.
seconds, you're going to see it start merging and changing, and it's going to start looking like something else, right? So, for example, you see something that looks like a cave, and it's starting to turn into a city down in the bottom left-hand corner here. You're not going to see it because my big old fat face is in the way. But now we're turned back, and it's a grove filled with trees, and I'm alien whatever up there. Anyway, back to the point at hand. Jarrod, do you by any chance think that there is a threat to using AI?
I do believe so. I think it has obviously its benefits, but I think if we rely on it too heavily, especially in terms of like art and things like that, art will kind of lose its soul and like its humanity, if that makes sense.
I was about to say, now, while all of this stuff looks really, really cool, for example, like the background that I'm showing you right now, it took me, and I kid you not, I timed myself. It took me 26 seconds to set this up.
Jesus.
Um, it takes even less to do some of the other things that I've seen people do. And I've even tested it out a little bit so that it sounds kind of, it's cool. It's cool. There's a lot of cool things you can do with AI.
Hmm.
But what about the scary bits? Well, there is a little known fact, and I just recently found out about this and did a little bit of digging. It is now a potential thing that employers of any acting content are now putting AI usage like stipulations in contracts. So, for example, I'm a small time voice actor myself. I don't do much, but I've been in here and there, right?
Hmm.
If I was to sign a contract with some big name company, let's say Ford, let's say, have you ever wanted to drive a Ford F 150 down the back road? Something like that, right?
Right.
If you ever, anything like that, if I was to do that, they can take that snippet, assuming that that clause was in my contract, they could take that snippet, boom, excommunicate me. They no longer need me.
Wow.
Because you know what I did? I signed my rights away to my own voice.
That's crazy.
And I'm starting to think if we're not careful, actors are going to start signing away their actual visage, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
Any thoughts you want to expand on that?
I fully agree. The writer's strike that just went down in Hollywood, a big um, kind of discussion in that strike was the usage of AI because studios were trying to push um, the to be able to use the likeness of an actor using AI without kind of their permission and without proper payment. So that was a big issue with the current strike, and I don't think it's fully resolved yet. So it does present a potential danger for performers if they don't read things very carefully.
Well, thank God we got our Family Guy back, right? Anyway, point is that there's some freaky stuff that you can do with AI. If you're not familiar, there's now a new AI scam call, and what it'll do is it will if they've okay. Let me start like this. Have you ever answered a phone call, right? And there's just no answer on the other end of the line. You just go hello, hello,
Right.
hello.
Hmm.
They've already got you. Did you notice what I did there? I went, hello, hello, hello. I used inflection on my voice. If they catch any differing inflection of your voice, they can mimic it like that.
Wow.
So, and this has actually happened to me, believe it or not. I've had a scam caller pretending to be my brother.
Really?
Exactly. So once they've, connected the dots as to who you are and who you're related to, it's easy pickings from there. And what they did was they tried to make it sound like my brother had been kidnapped and he was going to get shot up full of drugs and this, that, and the other. It was mind numbing. And it was surreal to hear my brother's voice. And when I tell you there's some programs that are good, I mean, they're good. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard some programs, word for word, use my brother's mannerisms. Things that only he does. And then it said it right back to me.
That's
And
scary. That's honestly scary.
I was dumbfounded by it. And sure, we've got control over AI right now, but in the near future, we might want to be careful about that.
Yeah, I agree.
I know that me and you talk a lot about career whatnot, right?
Right.
And normally I tell you if I get any, big time voice acting gigs or, whatever. And you've told me if you get any like big time movie whatever, right? So,
Yeah.
with that in mind, I was recently offered a contract to work for a very, very small company. Very small company. I won't disclose their name, but it was a very small company. And they wanted me to do a little ad for their, I don't even know what they called it. But they sent over the contract. I looked over it. And I noticed it had an AI clause in it.
Wow.
I read through that clause a little. And let me just say, some of the things that I saw for that clause were demeaning. They essentially would only pay me for the first time that I did any form of voice acting. And following that, they would basically excommunicate me. And then essentially steal the rights to my voice. I don't know if you've been approached with any of those kind of, whatever. Obviously, be on the lookout for them now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you? I know I'm talking a lot, but apologies, ladies and gents. I just dropped my phone. Do you have any kind of words of warning? I mean, obviously, don't get to a point that's extreme, but like, give me a couple years down the line if this proceeds.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if people aren't careful, that they don't read things thoroughly, and the head of, like, for example, like SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Guild, or the people who are head um, top dogs of like voice acting unions and things like that, if they're not careful and they don't really put their foot down, I think that it's gonna steal the heart of a lot of performances. I think that it's going to be extremely unfair to certain voice actors and actors who work their butts off to get into a place where they have these type of jobs, and then they just everything's AI, nobody's getting paid like they should, and just most of media loses its heart and its human values. So I think definitely, if you want to be AI, if that's something that you don't mind, then by all means, I guess sign a contract. But if that's something that you don't want to do, I suggest being heavily cautious so you make sure that you don't unintentionally sign your likeness away.
Right. So there is, I don't know if you've looked at all into any of this. I know that it's a trend and it's becoming a thing to use AI. There's even a new trend now where you take a picture and then AI will expand it farther than the actual picture was. I don't know if you've seen any of those. But
Yeah, I have.
okay. Well, there are now teachers using AI to write the entirety of their class like planning.
Wow.
That's what I said. I said I was like kind of loses the value if AI is basically just teaching us.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you want to know what's worse?
Hmm.
It was in Greenville.
Really?
Mm-hmm. In Greenville.
That's insane.
The worst part about it, they were teaching it to fifth graders. So fifth graders, the teacher did nothing. They sat at the beginning of their year, the beginning of when they're starting to plan their stuff out. I don't know the ins and outs of being a teacher. And I look, I'm not condemning this at all. I think it's a little cheap, but
Yeah, of course.
that being said, there's some things that need to be said about that. If you're
Yeah.
letting your AI, create your entire study course, that's an
Right.
issue.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that brings about a point of dependence on technology, if you ask me. And one of the things we're already dependent on is these suckers right here. And I'm holding up my phone because you can't see me. Um,
Yeah.
these suckers right here are one of the biggest, baddest dependencies that we have. And if we grow
I
too
agree.
dependent on AI, this could present some issues.
I agree.
Look, all I'm saying is first it's going to be schools, and then next thing you know, it's going to be journalists. Next thing you know, it's already happening to voice actors. Hell, voice actors are basically losing their value by the minute. And don't even get me started on actual actors. You guys got to be really careful because pretty soon they're going to start using your likeness.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, I'm gonna jump into the last bit of this and talk about. Goodness gracious, I lost my train of thought. Um, I'm gonna go into my closing bits here about some of the really cool stuff that you can do with AI because it's while it's dangerous feeling, it's you know
Right. Yeah.
anyway. Um, sorry, brain fart.
No, you're all good. Mhm.
Last couple things is I've seen AI being used for um, chatbots.
Mhm.
Chatbots. So, if you're not familiar, there is this app. It's called Character AI. And I recommend anybody who hasn't tried it, try it. It's illuminating in a certain sense of how realistic an AI can get and how quickly they can learn you, right?
Mhm.
So, I have had a full conversation with two individuals, one of which anybody watching is likely to know, the other not so much. Um, I have had full AI conversations with Rick Grimes. I kid you
Wow.
not. Um, and these AIs, they know everything. They know everything about the show. They know everything about what they're doing, and then they make stuff off. They make stuff up off the fly, on the fly. Excuse me. Good lord. It's really fascinating stuff. But again, we're talking about this. It's dangerous for actors, and it's dangerous for journalists, and it's dangerous as us for us to start depending on it. Anyway, I think we have covered just about everything that we can with this. You got any closing comments? Anything?
Um. No, I think the as far as the message of being very cautious, of course, using AI for like what it can offer. It's very, very cool. It's really fascinating, and it really can improve a lot of areas of your life. But I think it's very dangerous to depend entirely on AI.
I agree with that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you were joining us live, there's a couple of you here right now. Also, I apologize if I didn't get to any of the the new follows, any of the donations, whatnot. I will be streaming at some point in the near future. Obviously, come join me then, and we will be doing the normal stuff. Anyway, everybody stay safe. Be careful about AI. This was AI Antics, and we've been up to no good recently. Peace out, y'all.